mankind had yearned to build a fertile world for a long time. But what did fertile really mean to them? Is it worthy of all the tales of conflict and pain that took place? Numerous stories began and vanished, and in that process, people started to lose faith. Looking at them, some saw despair, while others saw hope. At a certain moment, a new civilization was born. Countless things changed in the blink of an eye, along with the emergence of new technologies. All of the wings that keep this world aloft held at least one singularity. That's right, just as the first humans wanted, these technologies had the intention to create a fertile world. People wanted a better world, and that aim for a better world set forth new spectacles to shimmer, a previously unimaginable sight that burst forth to the unprepared mind. Whether or not all that made everyone's life truly fertile is a question we simply won't know the answer to. One thing is certain, it is what enabled me to speak with you now. TLDR, all the wings like Lobotomy Corp have a singularity that powers their tech. We don't know what Lobotomy Corp's singularity is right now. It seems the employees have become more talkative these days. They seem more motivated than usual. It's rare to see such a lively atmosphere. It's even getting me excited. Lively isn't really the right word. It's more like excited over a trivial thing. All because of a new manager. That's nothing special to us. Be more understanding, Tiphereth. This is Lobotomy Corporation. News is rare other than the usual word of someone's death. The employees need something to talk about. Well, if it makes them more efficient at work for even a short time, then yes, I'll be understanding. What I can't get is why they're so noisy about it all. Weren't you excited the first time a new manager came in as well? Well, yes, because it was the very first time. It's still worth the excitement, even if it's not the first time to happen. Do you remember, back then, when we made a bet over whether the manager could save an employee who was at 95% mental corruption? Of course I remember. I bet he couldn't, and you placed your bet on them being saved. Yeah, though the employee died, unfortunately. I was so happy with my victory, I insisted on keeping up our bets, even though the result always ended up the same. Right, but then you stopped making the bets at one point. Well, because you always lost. Winning wasn't fun anymore. I never bet without thinking it through, though. I always placed my hope in him, thinking, maybe this time. It's a shame you never got to win once. Well, maybe if we had an infinite time, I guess a day would come when my hopes could become true. What do you think, manager? You know what, I think I could win you the bet. I could hedge on it happening. I agree with you, manager. Perhaps the bet could have turned out differently if we'd met sooner. It's the same as their mission yesterday, but this time I have to go to 7 or lower. Wow, that's so much harder. Question mark. So all of Tiphereth and Tiphereth's upgrades are for an entirely new mechanic, shield bullets. These are bullets you can fire at your employees that prevent a certain type of damage. It's 50 hits points of that damage to be exact. They only work outside of containment units though, so you can't prevent damage during a work for abnormality you can't handle. You can either choose red, white, or black, and we're choosing red because that's what most of the ordeals do. Easy. I get to the right spot on the screen. I'm dumb. Also, red is the thing that kills employees. White does not kill them. Black can also kill them. I think it kind of spoils the priority for me. Oh well. Welcome back to Lobotomy Corp. We've got 2 new employees. They're Among Us and my buddy Eric, both submitted by the famous person Lamone, who has more than 69 subscribers, tragically. We have 2 new abnormalities again, and one of them I can use for training, so Aaron came down here to work with that, and also Joy. And the other one is not going to be able to use for training, so just have everyone else here gonna work on that, probably. That's the plan. We're also having Among Us and my buddy Eric move down to Central Command and work on like Tisha and Scarecrow. One on each. I don't really think Woodsman's done for training, I think. At least he just should be just as efficient. So with that, let's do the day. Judgement Bird is a wall level abnormality that does pale damage. It has a Quilthoth counter of 2, which has a medium chance to lower on a normal result, and a high chance to lower on a bad result. If this Quilthoth counter hits 0, he breaches and does about 30 to 40 pale damage to everything in the room every so often. Overall, he's only a threat if you can't handle a lot of pale damage, which we cannot handle a lot of pale damage right now, considering we have no armor that does not have better than 1.5 times pale resistance, which means everyone is at least weak to pale. Amazing. However, in return for him doing the most dangerous type of damage, he has incredible armor and weaponry. Both of them are Aleph level, despite the fact that he is a Wa. Aleph is the highest level. Every Aleph weapon is really strong, and his is no different. But you might not expect seeing the 2 to 4 in its damage range. Just trust me, it's really good. And his armor takes half damage from everything. It's also really good. Judgement Bird's definitely worth it if you can handle the pale damage. Also, it's part of the same set as Punishing Bird. We'll see the reward for getting that set, hopefully. Little Red Riding Hooded Mercenary is a wall level abnormality that does red damage. She has a Quiltoth counter of 3, which lowers when an abnormality breaches. It also has 2 other methods of lowering that both relate to the activities of an abnormality we have not seen yet. We may not ever see it on this playthrough. It isn't her enemy, I will leave it at that. She has a special work type, Request, replacing Attachment. If you use this work type, she can fight any abnormality in payment of energy. This starts at 80 for Teth's and goes up 40 for each danger level, so Aleph's is 200. She's pretty strong, but she only does red damage, so abnormalities that are immune to red, she'll be completely unable to fight without just losing. If she breaches, she will target something in the facility and run to it and do the same attack she would if you hired her. This can be an employee or an abnormality. She has a secondary breach also, but that also relates to her enemy, which I brought up earlier. Since she does red damage, she can function as an instinct trainer, although she does prefer insight to instinct. And her equipment is okay. I'm not really too big of a fan of the weapon. I like how the suit looks, but it's still pale weak. Although other than that, it's pretty good. Just a better Dreaming Current suit, but you only get one of it. If your facility needs a good instinct trainer, she's definitely there, but I wouldn't really recommend her for anything else. That's my opinion on Little. And once again, the day opens with someone dying. All this time, I just didn't really know the safe area to work Judgement Bird at, so naturally, this is where we're not really insulated from our temperance stats from bad work results. And I've determined that this is where I should stop working Justice Bird. Easy peasy. I died. Justice Bird is relatively safe to work at when 1.5 times weak to pale, as long as you have decent temperance. You might still have to restart the day if you don't want to, if you're trying to avoid deaths for the most part, like I am. Just bad RNG and too much confidence, but this should only be a problem for this one day, because the goal for this day is to get Judgement Bird's suit. Because it's a suit and weapon are left tier, they're a bit more expensive than everything else you've been seeing. It costs like twice as much as Little Red's equipment for each of them. But I mean, Little Red's armor is 60 and Justice Bird's is 120. So it would be a lot of work set to get both, and also we can't really work in it super safely right now, so I don't think it's a super good decision to try to get both. I was debating this the entire day over the course of all the works if I should be going for both or not, but it ended up being decided for me. By that I mean people just came because you're close to death several times in a row. I was like, and decided to just go for the suit, so you don't have to worry about it in the future. Little Red's special work, she's the first thing I've seen with one. Pretty much all the special work types are not good and you should never use them. There's one abnormality with a special work out of the I think 5 or so that have them that I think is worth using. I'll talk about it if we see it. I don't know if we will. It's an A-cheap abnormality. It's popped up before, I think, in the selection. You just didn't get it. It's a shame. It's one that's pretty good. It's one I won. I didn't see it in my first playthrough either, and I wanted him there too. Oh well. Anyway. Why would I want Little Red Riding Hood to fight anything in this facility when I can beat anything in this facility except Judgement Bird? And I don't think could beat Judgement Bird either. Maybe she could, I don't know. If Judgement Bird gets out, which is incredibly unlikely, I don't think I'd be not resing the day anyway. dramatic cut to Meltdown level 5. So basically every single Meltdown level, every single work in this game is one of 4 works. Bong Bong repressing DRV. Eric inciting the Scarecrow. Among Us talking with Letitia. Goomb or somebody else inciting with Longbird. And Instinct/Insight done with Little Red. This is all being done. These are what's being done every Meltdown level. Since I'm just doing the same stuff over and over again in a cycle, I did cut most of it after the first Meltdown level just because it's kind of repetitive footage. Not really that much interesting happens. Aside from this, Yumeka almost heckin' dying. Ow. Judgement Bird is dangerous. That was why I determined just go further than the suit. Green Noon is being shown today, even though I said I'd probably start cutting it because we've seen it so often, and it's basically we know how to deal with it at this point. Just because I wanted to show off the new shield bullets. So yeah, Goom just took no damage to Chainsaw at all because of the shield bullet. It blocked 50 points of red damage. I don't know how long they last. They don't last forever, but they are incredibly useful for suppressions, as long as you know what damage type the thing you're fighting does. And it doesn't do multiple at once. Basically, shield bullets are a godsend for fighting tough stuff, and I will be happy to have them for the rest of the game. There are a lot of different types of bullets. You could try to guess at the few ones you'll see in the future art from the lower selection, but there is a shield bullet for every type of damage, so that's 4 down out of all the bullet types. All of them use the same stock of ammo, which is reset at each Meltdown level. So it starts at 10, and no matter how many you use at each Meltdown level, it'll go back up to 10 for the next one. So feel free to use those bullets, they're very helpful. That's what the game's trying to tell you. Little Red's, I don't understand why her best work is Insight, personally, but whatever. It's not really what I was going for. I personally am don't really often work her in Insight. I'm doing it this time just because honestly, I was focusing on getting her boxes and I was people working her had good enough stats. Aaron is occasionally doing Instinct with her, just to make sure that she gets her HP buffed up. If I had someone in the Scarecrow armor, that could probably work her Instinct pretty safely, like 2 or 3 times a Meltdown level. But I'm not really training anyone in the Scarecrow armor with HP right now. I might have Yeti or someone wear that tomorrow and start training Instinct with her. I'm not sure. Instinct and Justice are the stats we're lacking in training for. And we just did get a Justice trainer. I'm not really using it today, but I was planning on doing Justice training today, and then Judgement Bird showed up. Kind of had to make me refocus my efforts. We'll probably end up doing Justice training sometime soon, though. Dedicate a day to it. Justice training like 2 or 3 more people. I'll probably have to dedicate a lot of days to that just because Justice is an important stat. It makes suppressions a lot easier when your agents don't move at the speed of molasses. In case you're wondering how the movement speed works, hypothetical agent at 0 Justice is half as fast as an agent at 100 Justice. I don't really know how it's calculated further beyond that, that's all I remember. Also, an additional fun fact, while Justice does improve attack speed, it doesn't improve it for every weapon because this game is the Lobotomy Corporation. What happens is there's a function called that determines the attack speed of the weapon, and for some reason most of the high tier weapons, like I believe Judgement Bird's weapon, do not call this function, so they just have their own set attack speed. Fun. It's still important to have Justice trained up for your good agents though, just for the movement speed in my opinion, so it's ultimately just a bit sad, instead of super sad. Oh well. That's just sometimes how life is when you're playing games that are kind of jankily programmed. Big gains for today for Among Us and my buddy Eric. As expected, they both capped the stat they were training. Even though I had one of them training the wrong, even though I mixed up which one was he working on, whatever. Aaron has also hit level 5 Fortitude, even though she didn't do that many instincts with Little Red, that just goes to show you wouldn't do it. Working with all wah is like, I can't talk properly. Joy also kept Fortitude, and that was basically it for the big growths. Despite the fact it's not really great for training, Yumeka did cap Prudence too from working with Lobotomy, aka Judgement Bird. We'll get Judgement Bird's weapon tomorrow. I just really, I was not feeling working with it. And also I already had to reset a data working with it. Maybe, I mean, we actually have a non-pale weak suit now, so that's nice. Now it is time to pick 2 new boys, or girls, or neithers, and a tool. Actually, it's only one of them. One of them will definitely be a neither, because it's a tool. And none of the tools are alive. They're tools. But not the, like, adjective form of tool. Or is that also a noun? I don't know. Words. Day 24. TO243. Unsurprisingly, a single employee volunteered to retrieve the corpse of the cocoon colleague. This is a test. Why is it showing up now? TO541. Blood covers the whole floor. Screams like I'll be burning away. This is an HE that's shown up before. TO561. Life is only granted to those who have hold no fear of death. I think I know what this is, and I'm pretty sure it's an HE. Yeah. It's not really one we want, but it is an HE. It has a really cool looking suit and weapon, but it's not really that good. Nothing really cool in this facility worth taking the test, I guess. That's what I rolled. TO982, it literally makes itself into the safest place on Earth. TO980, tree simply re-promoted Soden. TO9104. This is the one we want. Let's roll a 3. Come on. Come on. Yes! Feels good. And now it is time for Shark lore. Just keep showing him the book. Oh, and it has to be a page with pictures since he probably can't read. When the experiment seems to drag on, try to draw his attention like mimicking sounds. I don't need to explain every detail, right? Yes, I know, it's unfortunate, pitiful and sad. I do feel human emotions, thank you very much. However, he ultimately survived thanks to this place. I hope he continues to live in any shape or form. If you're thinking the same thing, it'd be better off if you dropped that guilt right now. Tell the kid today's treat is going to be grape-flavored candy. It's his favorite. Excerpt from an encyclopedia. Contrary to popular belief, most sharks are small in size. There are only a handful of species that cause harm to humans. After all is said and done, the biggest appeal of sharks is their strong jaws and teeth. A shark's jaw can apply an immense amount of force, around 20 times that of an adult human. Besides, their vision and olfactory senses are extremely well developed, allowing them to locate their targets easily. This is why sharks could reign as the ocean's greatest predator until today. The parents had long deserted the child. They said the old infection would kill the child before 2 years passed. The researchers were the child's new parents. He learned to coo and walk. Although unable to talk properly, the child liked the ocean. Instead of visiting the ocean, the child was given candy which let him see the ocean. Many colorful nights and days passed. The child, who was thought to die within 2 years, managed to live for a long time. As always, he liked sweet candy, followed them, and left the place as his home. Though the only thing the child could do was run around inside a cramped lab instead of a grass field under the sun, his steps were shaky but filled with enthusiasm, excited about what kind of candy he would eat tomorrow. What a beautiful story.